We're talking all about the ultimate acquisitions training for beginner wholesalers. So if you've never done a wholesale deal ever, and you want to figure out how you actually do the acquisitions, this is the video for you. We start you from start to finish in the acquisitions process. So many gurus hide this in their course. I'm just going to throw it out there and give it to you. But if you want to go in more detail and learn 100% free, go over to freewholesaling.com. Me and Zach have given it all to you. It's all in there for you, and it's in much greater detail. But what we are going to do today is take day 16 for acquisitions training and break it down for you. And you don't have to just be a beginner. If you just need a refresher or just a good solid kick in the butt to figure out how to do wholesaling, and let's get into acquisition. So guys, the secret, I hate the word secret. I know it's a really bad word. Whenever you hear the word secret, I just cringe in wholesaling. But the secret inside your head, let's start with that. You ready? The secret to wholesaling sales success. And I don't like the word sales at all because I don't believe wholesaling is selling. Sorry, but it's in there. Let's just go with it. You have to have a belief. So most of you are watching this live stream because you believe wholesaling is the path to get you freedom of your time and get you financially free. Awesome. And honestly, it's just a mental acceptance of a statement that you hold true. And I love you guys for that. But here's the truth. A belief is just like an idea, and that's all it is. It's in theory, and you're sitting out there. I'm like, I know wholesaling is going to be the key to get me freedom in my life. And I agree with you. But the problem is, it's just like all your friends and family, everybody's got an idea. Hey, I got an idea. Everyone, there's never a shortage of idea. You know what there's a massive shortage of? People who execute. And people who don't execute never have their ideas come to fruition. And honestly, I put the belief in the same category as an idea. So it's okay to have a belief. It is a starting pattern. It is a spark. That's kind of where motivation goes. Motivation leads to a spark, which leads to a belief. The question is, what do you do that in wholesaling from there? And this is going to be really the key to understanding how to turn your belief into something you can actually make work in wholesaling. So the belief alone is not enough to be great at sales. And I hate the word sales, but let's use sales and wholesaling however you want to do it, because I have to do it because this is the terminology people put in the business. The belief alone is not going to make you successful. It's actually, honestly, it's going to take most of you out. Here's where you have to understand the difference. What we're going to do is, let me see if I did that there. Anyways, I'll share it with you. I didn't put it on the slide. I guess it got cut out. You have to add conviction to it. That's it. Conviction. You see, a belief is just a belief. A conviction is like body armor you put on your body, and it prevents family, friends, colleagues, sellers, buyers, other wholesalers, gurus from telling you that ain't going to work. That's the stupidest idea I ever heard. Why do you try this crazy scam thing called wholesaling? A lot of them will tell you stuff's illegal when it's really not illegal. Illegal is a definition by law. But I'm here to tell you is your belief is going to get shot down by somebody. And most likely, the truth of the matter, it's family's probably going to be the worst. I'm sorry, I'm just talking from personal experience, because they want to protect you and keep you safe. And the minute you start to doubt yourself and you have nothing to back that belief up, you're in trouble. Conviction says no matter what, I'm going to move forward, no matter how many arrows are shot in my back, in my front, in my head, in my foot, whatever it is. And if you don't have this extra bit of conviction, most people are going to fail with their belief system. So I'm giving you the keys to get started. You got to have a clear mental head to get in the process of wholesaling and understanding I have to have a belief and I have to back it up with a conviction. If I do that, I can do anything I really want to get done in life. So now that we know that, let's just dive into it. So we're on day 16 of acquisitions. We're going to break down from head to toe how to get your deals signed and how to get them written up and how, most importantly, to talk to your sellers. So the first thing we got to understand is I'm not going to beat this to death because it's all in freewholesaling.com. The first thing we have to do is, so we're talking about acquisition. So at this point, you've already pre-qualified your leads. And let's, for learning purposes, assume we're going on an appointment, or if you're doing it virtually, you're doing it in a virtual appointment. At this point, you have to fill in the MCTP, motivation, condition, timeline, and price. You have to do it. Without that, you're going to have a problem. Now, a lot of times when we get to this point, you already have half of them filled out, or you have an idea where it's going. This is the part in the conversation where you want to make sure you understand all 4 points of this. Why? Because if you don't, it's very hard to direct in acquisitions. If you don't know what their motivation is, you don't know the condition of the property, which you're there, you're going to check that out. And then a lot of times the T and the P is what we're here to solve. What is your time frame? You should have pre-vetted this to a point, but they don't always give you the truth. And what is going to be the price? That is going to be the final part of our negotiation, which we're going to teach you today. And I want to walk you through it from head to toe. So understanding MCTP is just an acronym for motivation, condition, timeline, and price. If you understand these 4 pillars of qualifying a seller, you can take any deal down in the acquisition phase of wholesaling. It is not hard. And you have to simplify it. So many of you guys get these complicated scripts. I don't know where you get them from. I'm okay starting out with a script. But remember, we have to turn that script into a conversation. You know, when you get a sales call, somebody calls you and it's just like, how are you today? And like you can hear them from a script. I don't want to buy anything from you. I don't like, it's not even I don't want to buy. I don't even want to talk to you because I know you're going through thousands of people and I'm just a number in your database. So don't ever let your sellers feel like a number. That's tip number 1. So if we understand what the 4 qualifiers are, there it is. I moved the conviction on the wrong slide. I will fix that in here. We understand. Now we get to the conversation. And I want you to understand at this point, this is the key distinct difference that me and Zach teach over everybody else. You see, most gurus are going to teach you this business from a transactional standpoint. And don't get me wrong, you need to know how to do numbers. You need to know how to write contracts. You need to know how to do everything. But if you can't learn how to connect with a seller, you are just a number. And remember, if you're just a number, you're not getting a good deal. Sorry, you were just like every other realtor out there. Give me the highest offer, regardless. So we are looking for people that need to sell their house versus people that want to sell their house. So we are at the point where we're going on the acquisitions and we're either meeting with them in person or we're having a very personalized conversation. So the key here is I want you to take from this is understand it is a conversation. It is not a robotic script. How are you doing today? You know, you have to have a conversation. So think about how you talk with family and friends, maybe not family, but friends. It's got to be smooth flowing. There should be a lot of ums and buts and like, because it doesn't seem sincere. And we are in an age where people are so fake with social media. People are so fake with their brands of business saying they're all for wholesaling and stuff like that. The reality is just let people be who they're going to be. I'm at an age where I just don't care what people think about me. I don't concern myself with what any other person in the wholesaling industry thinks of me. You know why? Because number 1, it's none of my business. And number 2, I don't care what they think. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I have principles and guidelines that I follow by. And I'm not going to waver. See, that's my conviction. You understand that? I get shot down all the time. Like, I really don't care. Here's what I do care. I care what you guys think. And me and Zach constantly listen to you. That's why I don't waste time on things that have nothing to do with wholesaling. I have a wholesaling show. All I'm ever going to do is talk to you about wholesaling. We have fun. We try to make it entertaining as possible. But the reality is I'm going to connect with you. So this is my conversation to you. And that's why you guys enjoy working with me and Zach. I need you to take that exact same energy that you get from watching the show and connecting with us. And you got to bring that same game to your sellers. So you guys are learning trial by error. And I want you to understand that it is about a conversation. If you can learn the art of the conversation and stop being the super slick salesman and stop being the fake version of yourself, the person teaches wear a jacket or wear a hat so you stand out. This is what all the gurus are going to tell you. Here's the problem. That sells courses, but it is not going to get you wholesale contracts. It's the truth. You have to connect with people. You have to get down to their level and talk to them. We are no better than anybody else on this planet. Don't ever think you are, because you're wrong if you think that. God put us all here. We all need to work together. Some work better than others. It is what it is, but we all have to get along no matter what someone thinks. So if we know that, let's walk through this. Number one, when you get into the conversation, so now I'm coming to their home, I've walked through, I've probably looked at the house, I'm figuring out the condition, and now I'm sitting down, I'm having a conversation. Rule number one, and you guys often overlook this, you can't have distractions. What's a distraction? Your cell phone. Honestly, guys, leave it in the damn car. Stop. We're in a society where we constantly have to look at our smartphones. It is not healthy. It disengages people. It does not engage them. I refuse to do business or have people who work for me that constantly have to look at their phone. It is a crutch, and you are hooked to the dopamine on your phone. And honestly, if you cannot be present and help your seller out, don't go at all. So here's a secret. Leave your cell phone in your car. Or if you have someone that you're caring for, you have a child just in case of emergency, for God's sakes, put it on like silent, put it in your pocket, and unless that thing vibrates, do not look at it. And guys, I'm telling you, when you look at your phone, you lose all credibility. It is disgusting what's going on, and please don't let that bleed over in your wholesaling. Number two, do not bring a giant briefcase, do not bring a folder, do not bring a contract in there. Yes, I said it. Because for me to connect with you, I need to look at you in the eye and just talk to you. So no distractions, key number one. We have to understand that. Number two, we're in a society where we stopped looking into people's eyes. I'm looking you deep in the eye right now and telling you, make the dang eye contact. Why? Because it is a way to connect to people's soul. You think I'm kidding about this? I'm dead serious. I have issues when people can't look you in the eye. And part of it is a culture issue. Like some cultures, it's different, and I get it. And I respect that. But for the most part, if you engage people by eye contact, it is number one, a sign of respect. And number two, it is a sign that you're attentive to their needs and you're listening very carefully. I've already shared this a million times. The key to wholesaling is just being the best dang listener you can ever be. So if your wife or your spouse or somebody tells you you're not a good listener, open your ears up, because they're probably right. And you can't afford to make this mistake when you go into wholesaling. So you have to make eye contact. Next, no negative talk. Man, is this tempting, and I screwed this up when I first started. I'm talking about your competition. They're going to talk negatively about you. Realtors hate wholesalers. Wholesalers hate realtors. Johnny Joe doesn't know how to wholesale. He just watched the YouTube video, and he's not going to sell your property. When anytime a competitor or anybody else is brought up, just move on with your life. Nothing good is going to come going down that negative alley. This is like, you have to understand this. It makes you look bad when you talk negatively about other people. So find a positive in it. Say, listen, I'm sure John's just trying to help you out. Let me see what I can do. So just avoid the negative talk and find a positive spin and move on. This is absolutely critical in understanding. Now, take nothing personal. Sellers say crazy stuff. Trust me on this one. Some of it is going to hit you a little bit. Maybe it's a religious statement. Maybe it's a political statement. And if you haven't learned by now, people who publicly wear their religion and their political alliance like out loud, they get shoehorned. And the truth is that we all got to get along in this world. And if you think one party or one side has it figured out over the other, you're crazy. I am on the side, I'm on the human side. So I don't care. I hate how things are divided in this world. But the reality is you can't take anything personal. There's going to be statements that you're not going to agree with, your seller says. If it has nothing to do with the wholesaling agreement, don't make it personal. Put a positive spin and move past it. Remember, you're there to help them out. You're not there to get in an argument with them. You are not there to say what's wrong or right about what their personal beliefs are. In fact, it's none of your business. So pretend you never heard it and move on. You have to let it go. At the end of the day, is it going to make a difference? If you can help that person out and solve a problem by doing a wholesaling deal, you'll make their life better and you'll make your life better, and in turn, your family's life better and the world better. So take the higher stoic approach and do not get in a confrontation. I've seen people get into it, and I don't understand for the life of it why people do it. It's the same reason why other people come on wholesaling shows and they don't talk anything about wholesaling. Hours go by. I'm like, why are we talking? Like, we talk about automobiles and airplanes, and we talk about people's political affiliation. It's just distraction, guys. I don't have time for that. I'm too busy wholesaling. I enjoy this. I love what I do. So if I get a political channel, I'll talk about that, but I'm not going to do that because I'm just like the rest of you. I'm just scratching my head like, what the hell's going on? But I do know wholesaling, and that's the one thing I will always preach to you. Anything else, please close your ears immediately. You know, the whole, I can't find an NFT person all of a sudden, but man, were they pushed down our throats 2-3 years ago. Can't find them anymore. It's not hot. See, when you go with trendy people, you're going to get trendy types of results, which are not good. Okay, tell the truth. Sorry, just tell the truth. I know this is a controversial statement, but I have found when you tell the truth, you're first of all, there's really no anxiety because it's the truth. Some people avoid the truth because it's uncomfortable to tell it. And I'm here to tell you, I've been on this planet long enough. It's just easier to tell the truth because you don't have to track and like figure out your web of lies to figure out what's truthful and not. So it's just easier to tell the truth. And sometimes you guys won't know the answer to what a seller says. And you're like, what do I do? Don't lie. I see this taught all the time. Number one, tell the truth. Here's how I tell the truth. If you don't have an answer for something, I go, that is a great question. I have somebody on my team that I know knows the exact answer to it. I go, if you can give me 2 hours, I will get back and do a 3-way call, or I'll come back over here and I'll give you the exact answer. You see, so many times, like, we make up a story and we don't know how to tell the truth, when if you just tell them the truth, it's just easier. And actually, you will be recognized for acknowledging you don't know something. You know, there's people who know an answer to everything, and like, how do you know the answer to everything? And we've just come to this world where, like, people think if they know everything, they'll be more popular, they'll make more money. In the end, it's going to take you out. It's called your ego. If your ego is big, monstrous, which most wholesalers are, if you don't lose your ego, you're going to get taken out in this business. So now that we understand that, next one, this is a big one. I say honor your seller's story. Let's face it, guys. We contract a lot of properties that have a ton of issues, massive issues. We have probate, which deals with a lot of death. I could literally write a book on the stories, kind of the horror stories I've heard from probate, because when people pass away, they can't defend themselves. And it drives me nuts. But once again, I don't get personally affiliated with it, but I honor the story. Perfect example. I had a house I bought once that the lady goes, listen, we're just done with all the stuff. This is grandpa's stuff. We're done with it. So they clean it. So they go, everything else is garbage. So we went through, there was a beautiful American flag folded up in the honor position. Now, I'm not a military guy, but you guys can correct me in the comments because I don't talk about things I don't always know. But it's folded up perfectly the way you're customary supposed to fold the U.S. flag as opposed to leaving it on the floor. And then there's a full military uniform with like an incredible like honors on it. I don't even know what they mean. And she said, I said, listen, his uniform's here, his flag. She's like, I don't want it. She goes, you can just throw it away. Now, I don't like that statement, but I'm not going to throw it in her face. I go, I tell you what, we'll go ahead and take care of it for you. That's simple. She's like, throw it away. I just don't want to deal with it. I don't believe in the military is what she told me. I go, well, I strongly believe in the United States military. Anything that helps defend our freedom. But instead of just throwing it away, we took the extra hour and we went over to the local Veterans Association and we found a place and they're putting it into like one of their museums to find out he was a highly decorated officer. There's an amazing story behind the flag. He got multiple medals, a Purple Heart, the whole 9 yards, and they would have loved to have it for a museum, and they thanked us for it and gave us a letter. Now, I didn't get paid anything extra for it, but the bottom line is I honored the story, and then I showed her, hey, just to let you know, we put your grandfather's stuff in this museum you can buy. Then went by and visited it, and then they gave us a huge thank you and a hug at the end. So what did I do? I honored the story. By honoring the story, I sealed the deal. Why? Because I do what other wholesalers will never even think of do. They're so quick to do the transactional deal. You guys are being taught all over the internet, just run with the numbers, click buttons. And here's the reality of wholesaling. It is about solving human problems. Yes, there's a math equation. It's the easiest part, guys. And you occasionally will screw it up. But if you don't get this part right and learn how to talk and deal with sellers, don't worry about the transactional stuff. Don't worry about your software. Don't worry about any of it because it's not going to work. So you need to understand that. So last but not least, I don't know why I have to put it on there. We have to be authentic. What do I mean by being authentic? If somebody wants to put it in the comments, say, go, hey, what the hell does Rick mean by being authentic? Because we are in a world where authenticity is like, it is the new currency when it comes to anything sales or connecting with people or promoting any type of product. In fact, me and Zach are constantly attacked for just telling you the way stuff is. I read it, that's the way it is. You can spin it however you want. In fact, if me and Zach weren't here telling you guys the truth of how this works, I don't know what would be going on in the wholesaling industry. You would get a one-sided version, you'd have to accept it, just like CNN, Fox News, like the whole 9 yards. So when somebody comes in the middle and says, hey, listen, here's the facts, this is how it is, this is what we recommend doing, that's fine. At the end, you guys are going to make the decision anyways. I just want to give you as much information as humanly possible available in the wholesaling. So you've got to understand being authentic is the new currency. Have you ever walked in the car sales room and you just know when someone's just so full of it? That's how I feel most what's going on the internet. Not everybody, but like for the most part. And you can tell if someone's truly being themselves. So here's the best judge of if like someone is authentic. If they come on, they promote content, they do it, and they actually do this business, go to one of their live events and see if they're the exact same person there. And if you get the, I'm too important, I have to wear a jacket, I am higher than you, I just don't connect with people like that. I find it obnoxious, I find it annoying, and I'm like, you tell people to be themselves, but when I get here, like you're like a completely different person. I get it. We have to sell. You paid millions of dollars to fill a room. I get it. I'm just not that guy. I'm never going to be that guy. And I'm considered an outcast because I do it. And I love it for that. And that's why I bring you guys the truth. So being authentic is the new currency in wholesaling. And if you can be authentic, it will change people's lives and it will change the trajectory of your family's life. If you don't believe me, try it out. I promise you on this. So being authentic, it creates confidence in you. Why? Because you're not faking it to be somebody else. This whole terminology, people tell you to fake it till you make it. I always thought it was the worst piece of advice I ever heard in business. And I stand by it. You don't fake it because that means you've got to burn people to get where you want to go. And there is a huge part of the business society in wholesaling that feels that's how they have to do it. There's wholesale influencers that offered all you guys great courses and said they were just incredible wholesalers, and they've left the country. They tell you, I'm moving on to bigger and greener pastures. Bull. Read through the lines, guys. They scammed so many people, and they were so fake to you and took millions of dollars that now the legal system's caught up to them, and guess what? I just go find a country that's going to be safer. And these people were all in bed with all the other wholesalers and the influencers, and now everyone's got amnesia. I didn't support that guy. I didn't tell her she could do that. Guys, understand this. You have to be authentic. Creates confidence. Why? You're confident if you are standing in your own shoes. So if you're comfortable wearing shorts on appointments, for God's sakes, wear shorts. If If you're comfortable in a long sleeve shirt, do it. If you really want to wear a jacket, do it, but understanding it's a weird look when you go to someone's houses. So imagine if your friend showed up to your house and he's wearing like a jacket and like white polished shoes and like this fancy belt. You're like, dude, what are you doing? Like we're just hanging out today. See, people try to do that to feel important and feel like super, and that's what they all like. They tell you got to wear a jacket when you go to these events. Guys, listen, I wore a jacket for 12 years. It was torture. I wore a suit and tie. The only reason people wear ties is because they have to, because that's the look of the business. And I've never met anyone that's super comfortable in a tie and like a full suit. Listen, you get married, you have to do a funeral. It is a sign of respect. But respect doesn't make sense when you have to do it every day of your life. Now, there's certain industries where you have to do it. High-end brokers, I get it. Lawyers, okay, I get it. I give you a pass. But past that, like wholesaling, if we're constantly trying to promote freedom, why the heck are we going back to like the old school type of stuff, like jackets and ties, and it's just absolutely crazy. So being authentic, being your real self makes you confident, makes you comfortable in your own skin. You guys know you hate when you fake it in front of people, so don't let people do it to you, and make sure you don't do it either. Period. End of story. Okay. So this statement, you've got to understand this, and I need to go a little bit deeper in this because this is really, really important. Excuse me. The person that cares most about helping their seller will be the buyer. Do you like, I know it's a simple statement, but it's never rang more truthful in wholesaling today. The wholesaler, the person that cares the most about their seller will be the buyer. Think about this statement for a moment. You actually have to care, like helping the person out. But here's the problem with wholesaling today. Everybody wants to be transactional. I need to do so much volume, Rick. You don't understand. I need to make a ton of money. I need to make $1 million this year. Wrong business. Sorry, guys. I know I'm breaking a lot of TikTok hearts here, but the reality is wholesaling is a slow and grow and get rich business. The really cool thing is it's a compounding effect, and when you get there, it's absolutely amazing. But most people don't understand it is a journey. On average, for a wholesaler to be really, really successful, it is usually a minimum 2-year journey. Don't believe me? Go pick anyone's brain that's ever done this business. I've been doing this 21 years. First 2 years was not a pretty sight. Now, I had success, but it was all over the board, as a lot of you are experiencing it right now, and we're trying to figure out acquisitions on how to be it. So take this statement. If you care more about the seller than any other wholesaler, realtor, or anything like that, you will most likely win them over, meaning you'll be the buyer. That doesn't mean you go out and find everybody who wants to sell a house. You can't win everybody over. Find people that need to sell their house and care the most for them. How do you care? Look them one-on-one in the eye and help solve their problem. How do you do it? You listen really carefully. And I know I beat listening to death with you, but you got to understand that. Next one. You have to care more about your seller's interests than they do. So I want you to think about this. When, say you were a child, or say you have children. If you got children, you can really relate. I got 2. There's a lot of things when we're young we just don't understand, and we act accordingly, like we know everything. So a good parent knows what a child's walking into, but they don't, like, the child's like, no, why can't I do it? They just see defiance and like, I want to do it. Like, no, you can't do it because it's going to harm. So say someone was going to post a, so I have a daughter, so I'm very protective of how she is on the internet. Say she was going to post a picture. She showed me, she goes, Dad, what do you think of this picture? I go, please don't put that on the internet. It doesn't show you in a good light. She goes, yeah, but it's a cute outfit. No, honey, this could come back to haunt you for future opportunities, and it doesn't put you in the best of light. And then we get an argument. So if you have a daughter, you understand what I'm talking about. And so I'm trying to serve what's in my child's best interest, even though she doesn't know it at the time, but I know she'll thank me in the future generation. I need you to take that same thinking and work with your sellers. Sellers all the time. I walk in, there's a gaping hole in the roof. I've had it where extension cords are coming over from the neighbor's house because the electricity's been shut off, and they go, "No, Rick, everything's fine. Rick, everything's fine." I've seen children hungry in a house because there's no refrigerator. I've seen some of the worst stuff I've ever seen in life. I've been eaten alive. I've had fleas eat me alive. I've had cockroaches calling me. I've had wild pigs running through a house. I've had a monkey almost rip my ear off once on a wholesaling deal. True story. And I'm here to tell you, sometimes we have to sit down with our sellers and have what I call like the coming to Jesus meeting. And I need to help them get out of their own way. And sometimes when they're delusional in the price, that's a different story. But like, hey, this is not right. You need help. Please let me help you. So I've brought in social workers. I have brought in city services. I have brought in animal rescues. And most importantly, I brought in family to help out because sometimes they don't know what's going on. And if you want to be a decent human being, you've got to help people first. If you help people first, wholesaling's simple. If you try to wholesale and skip people's problem by just making money, I don't want you in wholesaling. I'm sorry. It's the absolute truth. At the end of the day, me and Zach are very aggressive about how we teach wholesaling. But you got to understand, we want to help as many people as we humanly possibly can. I want you guys to understand. Look me right in the eye. I want you to understand. I will help people. I will do whatever I have to do, either financially or physically, to help somebody out. I have a true story of, I'm going to embarrass him if he's listening. There's a gentleman in my Flip with Rick Plus, and I won't use his name. Well, I'll use his first name, Jason. I have a lot of Jasons in there. Jason's a very successful name. And he came to us when he just never wholesaled a deal, went through freewholesaling.com, and then joined us through Flip with Rick Plus. And we've had an amazing relationship, and we do deals together as we speak right now. I love this guy's attitude. And he went from really just making no money to just being an incredible wholesaler. Now, he subscribes to me and Zach's theory. We help people first. He's actually on the extreme end. He feels, and he's so empathetic, just like I am, and just like I'm teaching to be as a wholesaler, he will help people long before the wholesaling transaction is. So he had a gentleman once that had all sorts of physical disabilities, terrible, had no family help, and basically, I mean, the guy couldn't use his arms to eat, so he kept bringing him food. And I swear to you, the guy's desire was to get chicken wings, and he sat there for an hour on the floor and fed him, not even knowing if he's getting a wholesaling deal. And I'm telling you, if you can do stuff like that, the sky's the limit in how you can help people out. Not only in wholesaling, but everybody who needs it in this earth. And I'm here to tell you, I think that's absolutely amazing. And when he told me the story, like, I was almost in tears. I'm like, dude, you're an amazing human being. Now, the bottom line is the deal didn't work out. The guy actually backed out. And a friend or some like realtor listed it. But at the end of the day, I said, listen, you did such a good thing and you helped him. I believe in my heart of hearts, he's either going to come back to you or God's just going to give you like another karma event. And that's what you need to do. If you're okay doing that, I want you to understand that that's how I look at wholesaling. I solve as many problems as I can. Some I get paid for, some I don't. But the more problems I solve, the more money I make. You have to care more about your seller's interest than they do, because they get in these positions not by choice, but by habit. Now, I can't necessarily break the habit. I can just give them a clean break to move forward. And I want you to understand that's how I want you to operate. So, guys, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. We'll jump on and do the lives at the end. Make sure you go to Wholesaling for Houses for Real and register there. And we would love to do that with you. Let's keep moving on. Understand this. Sellers will actually feel and connect with your conviction while confronting their own beliefs. Sellers will actually feel and connect with your conviction. Remember we talked about your conviction in the beginning? Because it means here's a line I want you all to steal from me whenever you meet with a seller or you do a virtual appointment. Mr. Seller, regardless of buy your house or not, I'm going to help you get this house sold. And I know a lot of you are cringing when you hear that statement. You're like, oh my God, why would you say that? Because it's truthful. I want to help them out. If they want full retail, I'm going to give them to a realtor. Why? Why fight it? No, you can't use a realtor. You got to use me. I'm a wholesaler. I close everybody because I'm the absolute best closer. Do you know how ridiculous that sounds? Do you really think you're in a used car lot and you have to close everybody who walks on the lot? The reality is you get 100 customers, you'll get a shot at maybe 5 to 7 of them, and 1 or 2 you have a shot of actually closing a deal. But the traditional teams where they say you've got to close people to be a champion in wholesaling, ridiculous. You have to be educated on how the game's played. You have to connect with people and you have to guide them down a path. You are a guide. And if you listen carefully to solve their problem and craft a solution to fix their problem and do it, you get paid very well. You sleep great at night and the world is a better place. But let's move on. So while you do that is while you give them your conviction because they're questioning you and your conviction reinforces your belief, then they have to confront their own beliefs, which let's face it, the reason they're meeting with you is because their beliefs haven't worked out to this point. Your conviction can override any other human being's beliefs. Trust me on this one. I'm telling you. Because people have a belief if I shoot a hole in their plan and like they have no backup, I know they have no conviction. I know they haven't thought it out and it's really they're just shooting thoughts across their head. See, a lot of beliefs really are just people's thoughts. Belief should be one more advanced thing that comes from a thought, but conviction is what seals the deal in people. So understand that. So let's go through the next part. I changed it up this year and I wanted to give you the rules on how to have a conversation. And it's so important you understand you have to have a flowing conversation with people. It's got to be natural. It can't be scripted. It can't be all set in black and white. Like if you go through MCTP, let me give you an example. Let me get this off the screen. If you go through MCTP and say you're reading through the script, say it's your initial conversation with someone, and then they go, well, you go, okay, tell me a little bit why you're selling the house. Well, let me just tell you about the condition of it. No. I have to do box number 1 because that's the way I was taught. No, MCTP go, okay, he's doing C. Now I just have to do MTP. And they go, hey, Mr. Seller, when were you looking to sell the house? Well, the reason I'm selling the house, no. You've got to answer that's my time frame line. Do you understand? Like mentally, MCTP, okay, he just did C. He just did M. I just have T and P left. And if you understand that, it has to be a flowing conversation because if you get caught up with your script, and I'm okay starting out with a script to give you confidence, but people can tell when you're reading from a script and you're not being your authentic self. Okay, let's keep moving on here. I got a lot to cover. So sometimes a seller may not be ready for the appointment. Let's face it, guys. Not everyone's worth going on an appointment. How do you make this decision? How far away are you? What kind of numbers are they thinking about right off the bat? And what is their time frame for selling? I'm not going to go on an appointment if someone's a year away from selling. What's the point? I'm going to have to relook at the house anyways. Unless I can lock it up and option that property for a year, I don't want to mess around with it because we are not paid by the hour, right? We all agree we're not paid by the hour. So we have to understand that. So sometimes we have to sense the urgency of our sellers. Some are so far away. Sometimes they have motivation, but they're so far out that we just have to put up in a follow-up cycle. And that's not the worst case scenario. I'm all about going on appointments, guys, but I'm not about wasting people's time. Some of you guys have to drive 2, 3, and 4 hours, and that's going to cost you an entire day. So make sure you have the correct motivation to go meet with someone. And most importantly, to align with that, the next one is going to be their time frame. If they're 1 year out, that's hard. Even 6 months, I'm like, 90 days, I'm all over it, man. I am just like, whoop, those are the ones we chase down. And sometimes you just got to stay on them and follow up to get them in line, to get them to that final appointment. It's okay. Not everything is about timing with wholesaling. And the main thing is to make sure you stay in their frame when they come down to making their decision. The only way you can do that is with follow-ups. Maybe they just want to sell their house for too much. I'm going to set them up on a follow-up. We have to understand that. So next one, we must call and follow up until they're ready to sell at the right price range. They're ready to make a decision on now on selling. Guys, follow up is going to be a huge part of the acquisitions process, and you have to understand it. It's just a timing issue. Here's how I look at it. If the seller has motivation and or the house has motivation, the property, I'm going to make sure I'm in the loop on when they're going to be selling the house. So when that decision's made, Rick is the buyer. And you're going to have to do the same thing. Now, sometimes you get lucky, they just call you, but luck's not going to pay the bills, guys. You have to have a very robust follow-up system and understand how that works. So let's talk about the actual appointment. I keep moving here. There's like so much information. I got to keep moving. I love talking to you guys, and I got ADHD, so I got to keep going here. So we agree to meet the seller of the property and do a virtual appointment. You set up a time that works. But here's where a lot of you really, really mess this up. What is the goal of the appointment? Anybody put in the comments, what is the goal of the appointment? Whenever, even if you're doing this virtually or you're meeting in person, what is the goal of an acquisitions appointment? So if you don't know what the goal is, you don't know how to get the correct outcome. So put in the comments, let me know exactly what is the goal of acquisitions when you meet with someone, or maybe you're just doing this virtually and you meet with them. Because if you don't know the answer to this one, the rest of what I'm going to teach you is never going to work. So put in the comments, just anybody spit it out. I don't care. I'm just trying to like wake you guys up. If you want me to start dancing on the table, put in there, Rick, start dancing on the table, do something. Listen, I'd much rather be on a wholesale appointment with you guys because it's funner. So I got set up an appointment to close your deal, confirm the condition of the house, get it signed, get it under contract. And you know what? These aren't wrong answers at all. Lock up the deal, close the deal. Now, here's one that's very, very close to get a yes or no. And I can tell Kevin's been listening to me because you have to know the purpose. And all the other answers are like, they're what we desire. Like, I want the deals inked, I want it signed, and I want it closed. Trust me, I want it closed too. But you've got to understand the purpose of the appointment is to get a result. And guys, here's the reality of life. Like, I got to lean back into the camera here and do this. I would like you to close every deal you go on an appointment, but it's unrealistic. And that's what you're taught at a car dealership. And this is why you guys are being shoved the sales training down your throat in wholesaling. You cannot make somebody sell you a property. There is no magic line that I can give you that someone says, oh my God, because you said that, Rick, I'm going to sell you my property. I can only teach you how to be an incredible human being and how to have a real conversation and connect with them where like they feel like they're talking to their friend, their neighbor, a family member, and then take all their information and then cater a solution to solve their problem. Now, it doesn't mean they're always going to like it, but they can like you. And if they like you, you have a shot. The reality is, Kevin is correct. You want to get a yes or no. And no, I swear to God, is a very good answer because it gives you an end result. Now, sometimes no means you just recircle the wagon and you go back into what we call a trial close. It just means they don't have enough information to make a decision. Sometimes it's just a really hard no, and it's just not going to work. The numbers are too far apart. We're wasting time. I'm okay with that. The worst case scenario. So let me ask you, from an appointment, what do you think the worst outcome is other than a no? So if you don't get a yes or no, what's the worst outcome? What's the worst outcome? And I'm going to tell you, this is the biggest problem you guys have on appointments. I hear it all the time. And there you go. DeAndre is so correct. It's a maybe. Dude, it's like the kiss of death. And I'm here to tell you, let me bring you back to maybe is, what the hell does maybe mean? Somebody put it here in a definition of what does the word maybe mean? I gotta tell you, I dreaded as a kid. You ever have your parents and they go, maybe? And you look at them like, is that a yes or a no? And it depends on which side you look at it. Well, they didn't say no. Well, they didn't say yes. So if you're an optimist or a pessimism, they don't have it. And it's correct. And these are all correct answers. They don't have confidence in you, not a motivated seller. Maybe the maybe is a no, and they don't want to hurt your feelings. This is all truthful, guys. When they don't want to say no. So what I always tell you guys, I feel I feel like this guy on Instagram. If you ever say he's a young gentleman and he like always talks about products, he's like, look at the camera. I got to tell you something. People try to hide the truth from you all the time. So here's the solution to it. As a wholesaler, the sooner you can get to the truth, the sooner you can solve the problem. If you can't get the truth, you have 0% in ever getting a wholesale deal. You have to get to the truth. The question is, how do you get to the truth? Do you want to drag on for months, or you have to confront people and you have to befriend them, and then you have to hit them with hard truths? So if you have kids, you understand how this works. If you have a significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, family members, sometimes we have to give them the truth and they don't want to hear it. They actually want to close their ears and go, no. But it is our job. And this is the only way you're going to do it. If you sit here and accept that that's not the truth, you're going to get stuck. So the goal of the appointment, yes is great. No is good. Yes, no is good because you have resolution. You just got to decide, do they not have enough information, or do you need to go back and explore? And you can tell by the tonality and how they answer the no if it's good or not. The goal of the appointment is to make a definitive decision. That's it. Yes, no. Is that the reality of how all appointments go? Absolutely not. It's ridiculous to think you're always going to get a yes or you're always going to get a no. When you start to get a ton of maybes, please re-look back at your wholesaling business. And here's the best part is, yes or no, maybe is not a decision. It's a smokescreen. We're in a society where, let's face it, very few people want to tell the truth. It's painful. We hide ourselves. People use all sorts of things to avoid the truth, between drugs, alcohol, everything else. Like, why are you shocked in wholesaling we have this problem? Listen, guys, I deal with probates, and when it gets to people's ends and they pass away, some ugly truths come out. Because when someone's not there to defend himself, they can say whatever they want about someone who passes away. It's a huge lack of respect, and it disgusts me, but I keep that down inside so I can move forward as a wholesaler, because I concentrate on what's best for the wholesale deal. Now, I never compromise anything, but it pisses me off when people can't tell the truth. So you've got to understand, it's a smokescreen. Because if they had all the information and they just tell you yes or no. Do you ever know there's people, everything's like a maybe? I don't know. I'll think about it. I listen, the maybe people can't make decisions. Avoid them like the plague. It's just the truth. Even family, if you have someone you're living with, you have to teach them, and you got to learn to talk to them, to confront them, to give you a yes or no decision. Because sitting in maybe is like optioning you, and you don't want to be anybody's option. You want to be their number one priority. This is what we need to understand. How do we fix it? Guys, it just took me forever. It took me 5 years to figure this out. You got to condition your seller before you meet with them. Why? To strike against the maybe. The smoke screen, let me think about it. Now, it's not always the word maybe. And if you guys want to give them the chats, give me code words for people that don't tell you the truth on a wholesaling appointment. Let me talk to my spouse. That doesn't exist. Let me talk to my cat. Let me talk to my sister. Here's my favorite one. Ready? Let me talk it over with my lawyer. Or how about this? I'm going to review it with my real estate agent friend. Now, I have a couple tricks up my sleeve to solve any of them. But let's do this. Put it in the comments here. We're gonna like, I tell you what, we'll play around with these and have a lot of fun with them. But when people don't say maybe, what do they say when they don't say yes or no? Maybe's like a pain in the butt. But what are code words for maybe? Like, I need to talk to my lawyer. I don't know. I need a few days to kick it around. Let's try to problem solve. So if you guys put it up there, I'll show you how to do it. So let's go over the conditioning statement. Before I come to the property, I just want to ask you a question. And guys, this is recorded and it's all in freewholesaling.com under our 30-day challenge, which we rewrote every 30 days because we are modern wholesalers that do this for a living and we understand it. We just don't re-spit out and regurgitate stuff to make it super easy for us. In fact, it's a lot of work for me, but I do it because I want you guys to get the best results. So you can do your own deals and then eventually do deals with me. Here's how it goes. Before I come to the house, I don't want to waste your time or my time. I'm usually very busy. I usually come and look at the property once. So before I come, I just want to make sure that you're ready to make a yes or no decision on selling the property if we agree on everything on the appointment. And listen, if you say yes, I want to do business with it, great. If you say no, I won't take it personal and I will accept your final answer. But regardless, do we have an agreement that you'll make a yes or no decision? Look them in the eye and shake their hand on it. People do not like to break their own word, especially when two people just made it. So you can use this as a lever when they come back to this maybe. So you can super solve it. So now that we have that, let's get this. Let me put this up here. Let's do this. So let me think about it. Great answer, Mark. Actually perfect. And so how do we overcome let me think about it? I'm going to go back to my conditioning statement. Mark, remember when I initially met with you, we both agreed, gentleman's honor or person's honor, it's not always the guy, whatever, that you would make a decision. What information are you not comfortable or what can I help? What information can I share with you to help you with your decision process? And so this one, I know I have to go back and re-explore. Either I made him super uncomfortable or I did not answer a question. What is your biggest concern with selling me the house? What's bothering you the most? And the whole point of this, Mark, is, and by the way, that's an awesome, it's the truth. The whole point, is to get back to the truth. So for you to get a result in wholesaling, you're going to have to circle the wagons. You're going to have to keep getting tighter and tighter to get to the truth. I've had people just blow up on me and go, oh my God, like I'm not selling you the house. I'm just like wasting your time. Okay, great. Thanks for telling me the truth. So we have to know that. Let me see what. Let me look it over a bit. I'll have your number. I'm going to go back again to the conditioning statement. DeAndre, if I had to pick out one thing, what is the one thing you really need to look over? You got to try to get to the truth. You got to try to invoke emotion out of your seller, because maybe's one thing. Maybe's to me is the worst because there's no clarification. So whenever they give you a statement like this, explore deeper into it and understand you have to probe for the truth. So these are all correct answers. They by the way, they all mean the same exact thing. Jonathan's got a good response. Is there anything else I can help clear up that I didn't cover? Mark says, you have to play with resistance. So I'm not taking credit for this. This is like a Tony Robbins strategy, and I love it. You can't fight it. You just got to dance with it. So if you ever fight with someone, it's like you have no idea what the other person's doing, but if you flow with them and you dance, and Tony has a great physical demonstration of this, there's just a different energy with people, and you have to understand it. You have to play when people give you comments like this. Now, if you use the conditioning statement, it makes it so much easier to press that lever, to press them for a question, because nobody likes to be called a liar. And basically you're saying you're not holding your end of the bargain. We agreed to it. And now it's not foolproof, but most of the time I can solve any problem by doing this. So remember, I'm not here to put BS words in my mouth and like try to manipulate people. If they need to sell the house, they met all my qualifications, and the house looks like crap, it is my job to help the seller guide them in their decision process. In the end, they have to make the decision. I have to give my best authentic foot forward to guide them. Now, the days of like high pressured sales tactics, it just doesn't work in wholesaling. And if you taught this method, please scrap it and go over to freewholesaling.com. I'm telling you right now, you've got to understand how that works. Okay. So, so, dude, someone just nailed it in the head. A motivated seller wouldn't come up with all these excuses. It's true. Now, sometimes as a motivated seller, they just need more timing and they would follow up in your follow-ups. But you've got to understand that completely. So that is you guys, conditioning a seller. Like, I will never get away from this because I struggled my first 5 years because I never put somebody, I'm not going to say in a corner, but the whole point, and you've got to is, I keep clicking the wrong buttons. I'm not the tech guy here. Is your job in wholesaling is to progress your sellers down a funnel. And eventually they have to make a decision, yes or no. The maybe world is literally torture. You will never make any money in the world, maybe, and it means you're wasting your time. Now, you're still going to get some maybes, but with the conditioning statements, it makes a huge difference in how you do it. It is smoke screens, guys. You've got to understand. You guys are you're smoke screened every day. Let me get back to you. Let me think about it. Think about this. Even outside of wholesaling, why don't you just probe people a little bit more and get to the truth? Have you ever wasted like months of your time when they already knew the decision, but they wasted your time? That's what I want you to understand. I had a light bulb go off in my head. I worked with a seller for like 3 months. At the end, I kind of cornered her at a point where she had to answer the question. She goes, man, you're just like really persistent and you just don't back away. She goes, I'm just using your contract to get the highest bid. I go, was that so painful? And I learned, I let her keep getting off the hook. I always kind of tighten the circle around my sellers. Now, I never force them, but I will tell you what, I will force them to eventually give me the truth or get out of my funnel. Give me the truth or go play games with somebody else. I don't want to, that's what we're basically saying. And I'm trying to protect your time because there's a lot of people who will waste your time in this. Okay, so when we get to the appointment, we're going to walk around the house. Just act like you're kind of buying a car, you're testing it out. Here's a couple of hints. If the house is in terrible shape, lean into it. Stay in the pain with the seller so you can help them make a decision for their own best interest to sell you the house because they've got to solve a problem. If the house is in great shape and it's perfect, get outside the house, go on the front lawn and have a conversation with them. I don't even care if it's 100 degrees, which I know it's very hot across the country right now. And just to understand, learn to lean into stuff and lean out of other stuff. Next, build rapport. I cannot emphasize this enough to you. If you don't build rapport, there's nothing you can do to make this business work. In fact, you're nothing more, in my opinion, than a low-end realtor trying to get like some little fees. So there's lots of little dispositions companies. That's all they do is let's get a wholesaler under contract. Let's option them and let's sell it. And we get pitched all day long. You guys know these companies. I don't think they do wholesaling any favor because it's just, they're like middlemen realtors. And yeah, oh, by the way, they all are licensed realtors. That's the truth. So if they're all licensed realtors, understanding, you think the middleman is just a licensed realtor, it just drives me nuts. So you have to build rapport. Get to the closing line. So here's a little tip for you guys. This is where most of you struggle. So at this point, you've done your upfront agreement. You've walked around the property. You've assessed it. You've done small talk. You've built great rapport, and now you come to like either the kitchen table or like the dining room table, and this is where it gets weird. Trust me on this one. This is the part that you truly have to understand. You're getting to a negotiations. I get it. Most of you don't have the experience. And this is where the butterfly starts tingling in your stomach and you feel awkward. Congratulations. You are now in wholesaling. You are wildly uncomfortable. You're doing something. You're going outside your comfort zone and you need to finish this. Okay. So many people want to get to this point and they're like, eh. So what you do is you kind of avoid it. What am I saying here? I'm going to get to that. What I'm saying is you guys are scared to close because you don't know how to do it. And you think it's this complicated sales process. If you gathered all the information and you're educated on wholesaling by going over to freewholesaling.com, this is the easy part. The problem is you're scared, and acknowledge it. It's okay. In your past life, when you were scared or fearful, you went backwards and retreated. I'm going to teach you now to do the opposite. You're going to lean into it. You're going to live. Trust me. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's going to be weird. So before we do that, I'm going to show you how to transition from after you've built massive rapport and how you're going to like get to the negotiations. So remember this. Start using active statements when you walk around like, hey, listen, when we buy your house, we're going to do a lot of work here. I'm not sure if we're going to keep it as a rental or we're going to sell it to one of our partners, but we're going to condition them that we are the buyer. You're basically doing NLP. If you know what that is, look it up on the internet. I'm not going to explain it. It's basically where you kind of pre-program and you drop. Why do you think when you go to seminars, especially real estate seminars, they'll say yes, 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 like over 100 times. You're preconditioning for you to buy something in the back of the room. Don't believe me? Count how many yeses you have to shout out. And yes, I do love Tony Robbins, but he does it too. So you use your so this is what you're going to do. So you've now built up this massive rapport, right? And now you got to go into a negotiation. You're scared to death. You're so scared you're going to get rejected and you're just going to waste your time. I get it. So let's build you a transition statement. So here's what happens when you don't get to the closing line and you spend all this time building rapport. It has a negative compounding effect where it's like, dude, I thought you were going to like try to buy my house. You just keep talking and we're not getting into it. You guys talk yourself to death. And if you're someone like me to ADHD, this can be a problem. So this is where you have to have a memorized transition statement so you can get out of rapport building and into negotiations. Honestly, this is the key to basically getting great wholesale deals because you guys are scared to death and you don't know how to bring it up. And by the way, if your seller goes, are you going to make me an offer? It means you talk too much, way too much. So remember, you should be only doing 20% of the talking, 80% of the listening. So how do we fix it? Very important transition statement. This avoids the beginner and the wholesaler procrastination trap. So let me just give it to you. I'm just going to spit it out because I didn't write it up here because I constantly change it because I try to keep it real and authentic. Mr. Seller, I know we spent the last 30 minutes getting to know each other. I love the area of the house and I get what's going on here. And I just want to, I could talk all day about our kids. We could talk about the Miami Dolphins because we both love them, but it's a struggle talking about the Dolphins. But I could do that all day. I came here to see if we were going to be a good fit to buy your house and I can solve your problem. So if you don't mind, do you mind if we sit down and talk about some numbers to see if we can make this fit work? Does that sound fair? Boom. Now you're wearing your negotiator cap. You're there. Now you're committed, right? You're stuck. But the problem is a lot of you don't know how to separate from your rapport building and you can't get down to the negotiations because you're horrified. So in the beginning, you have to understand, if you just understand the mechanics, your experience will make you a better talker as time goes through, but you have to get through the process. Even if you fail, you have to do this. Transition statement. Seller, I could talk to you all day about family, the kids, and everything airplanes. But as I told you earlier, I'm here to make you, to basically buy your house. And I want to see if we can make this work. Do you mind if we sit down and talk about some numbers? Boom. End of story. Let me see if I can solve your problem. So once you do that conditioning statement, you can't procrastinate anymore. You have to get into it. And some of you are just going to like, I'm going to spit out a number. So put it in the comments. Here's my favorite part. I still got a lot of information to go through. This is the part where you guys like either spit out some ridiculous number and you do a calculation. What calculation do you think I'm talking about? Do you do the 70% rule? What's the most I can offer them without being kicked out the door? It's ridiculous how you guys are thinking. And I'm telling you this from experience because I did this my first 2 years. And once I figured this out, wholesaling was a piece of cake for me because it was somewhat mechanical, the steps I would go through. It doesn't mean I wasn't empathetic and didn't care. Actually, that's just who I am as a person. but I'm here to tell you is you get stuck. And when you're scared of something, you typically avoid it. So what you have to do is lean into it and just go right through it. So if we know that, we're going to go straight to the go for no. You can throw all that other crap you learned out the window. Why? Because go for no is the fastest path to get you a desired result you want in wholesaling. Don't believe me? Put in the comments how many times you guys make offers, you overpay for them and you can't sell them to your cash buyers because now you found out you overpaid for it. Do you know how you did that? I know exactly how you did that. You ready? I'm just going to go through a checklist right here. Number one, use the MAO method, the maximal allowable offer. Why? Who the hell's teaching this stuff? You should have an upper limit in your head and you should never share it unless it's the last resort. But here's the reality. Most of you, look at me. I'm gonna do just like the Instagram guy. Look at me. Come in here closer. The reason you use MAO because you use it as a crutch and you're scared you're going to get rejected. So I'm going to do the opposite. We're going to use the go for no method, and I'm going to teach you how to get rejected and like it because rejection leads to a path to a negotiation. In fact, I'm here to tell you, until you get a no, you haven't even started a negotiation. And if you get a yes right off the bat, 9 times out of 10, you overpaid for the property. Don't believe me? Put in the comments. How many people on here have overpaid for a property because you used like an MAO method and you used it as a mental crutch? So if you go, okay, I can't pay more than 180, well, you guys spit out like 178 right off the bat. You're not going to get anywhere. That's not a negotiation. And honestly, the higher offer you make, the more you have to chase your seller up. So do the complete opposite. Hit them at the freaking knees. Am I using bad language? Am I okay here? Okay. Why? Because you bring the reality to their expectation down the reality. Now, here's the reality, guys. You got to understand this. There's a lot of people that use the go for no method and they use it right off the bat. So I'm going to teach you how to use the LAO method, least allowable offer. Stop trying to use an MAO offer. Guys, you need to do that crap. If you want to like go with a guru to teach you how to do stuff on like working with realtors, do it. That's not wholesaling. It has nothing to do with wholesaling. I'm sorry. You need to be at the bottom line number because you got to have room to go up if you have to. If you start at the MAO, you're wasting your time. And the reason why you guys do MAO, you see this where I say you're not a psychic, because you're trying to forecast what your seller thinks they're going to sell it to you for. It's ridiculous. And it's never going to work. You have no idea what your seller's thinking. I just did a deal yesterday. Seller told us through my partner through Flip with Rick Plus. You ready for this? You know what they said? They said, we can't take a penny less than $452,000. I said, great. Wow. Hey, I see you actively have a probate going on. I see you're the PR. Yeah. What's going on with that? Well, I'm trying to fix it up. There's this wrong with it. Bottom line is they're 18 months behind on the mortgage, now 19 months. And at the end of the day, after basically 2 days of going kind of back and forth, because I hit them at the knees, guys. I offered $200,000 on the property. Now, this only works. Let me share this with you. If you build great rapport. If people know you have a genuine interest in, you want to help them, it works. If you use the go for no method and you try to make it transactional, it'll work 1 out of maybe 100,000 times. Do you know how much energy 100,000 deals are going to take you? Like you'll never get through it. But people will sell you a course on this crap all day long. I'm here to tell you, you have to build rapport. You have to be empathetic. You have to solve people's problems. And when you do, and you listen and you cater a solution to solve the problem, amazing things happen. That property at 452, I hit her at the knees at 200. We came back at $243,000. Guys, I don't talk about wholesaling. I do it. A great leader leads by doing great deals, not by talking about them. And I'm here to tell you, Deals like this are out there all the time. Now, that's not even in my own market. It's in a foreign market I'm not even familiar with. I just know if someone's got a probate and they've got a pre-foreclosure getting ready to lose the house, guess what? They're getting zero if they don't do anything. So if their expectation zero and now I offer 200 grand, all of a sudden it might work. And I'm here to tell you, I find people that need to sell their house that don't want to sell their house. So LAO, it only works with great rapport. Guys, this reduces your negotiation stress for you and your seller because you all know what I'm talking about. You sit in that room, you can cut a knife through the tension. Just cut it right there. Just go for no. You want them to say no because their counter response is going to be their subconscious programming on what they will take for the house. It is just a reaction. So you ever got upset with someone, they scream at you and like at the top of the lungs, they tell you they just hate your guts? When you're a kid or whatever. Adults do it now, especially politicians. They're just telling you how they feel. They're just giving you their subconscious response. I'm teaching you the same technique by using the go for no method because it works really, really well. And I want you to understand. In fact, by using go for no, you will reduce your stress. Now, you're going to get tension, but you cut through it. The faster you cut it, the easier it is. You ever have a Band-Aid it's like really painful to rip off? It's like, there's people who just rip it off slow. Go for no is just ripping that bad boy off and just deal with it. It's easier. It's because the stress, the anxiety of negotiations freaks people out. It stops a lot of you from wholesaling. And if you understand this in acquisitions, lean into it, do your transition statement, and go for no after you've built rapport. If you haven't built rapport, it will not work at all. Everybody understand this? I'm telling you, this works. Waterproof Band-Aids, what Matthew says. So you ever have that Band-Aid? I'm like, man, just rip it off. Guys, I'm telling you, rip that damn Band-Aid off because you guys are using it as a crutch. MAO is like the worst thing in the world you can do. And here's the thing is, you want to know how I learned like the go for no approach? I remember I made an offer to a seller. I thought it was what he would take. It was still pretty low. And he put his hands out. He was so excited and shook my hand. And I remember thinking like, I just felt like I lost. And I still made like 35 grand on the deal. But I asked him in closing after we closed as a simple trial. I said, Mr. Seller, what was the lowest price you would have gone? He's told me he was sold at $30,000 less. And that was my aha moment. I'm going to stop guessing what's in the seller's mind by getting rid of the MAO. I'm just going to use the LAO, the least allowable offer, and I'm going to go for no because I know when I get a no, I have now started what I call a negotiation. End of story. So, God, I love this business. I really do. Okay. So, negotiation strategies, and by full disclosure, we teach this all over at freewholesaling.com. There's several methods. Good cop, bad cop. You guys are familiar. Hey, it's not me. It's my partner. I want to make this deal work, but my partner, he's kind of cheap. And he told me if we spend more than $100,000, he's going to walk. What's the best we can do on this deal? Because I might be able to bridge this deal together. Simple strategy. It works very well. You can use Rick as your bad cop. Everybody uses Zach as his bad cop. And just sometimes it's just easier to deliver a negotiation that way. So these are strategies to help you with your negotiations because a lot of you guys are really weak on this. In the beginning, just know what your strategy is before you go into the negotiation. You all are going to favor one over the other, and I want you to understand that they're there. Freewholesaling.com. Next one, the volley method. Man, this one's powerful. And for full disclosure, do not use this on your significant other, your spouse, more than 2 times because they will figure out a pattern real quick on you, and they will not like it. So the volley method, it's basically strategizing a response to a question and putting it back to them so they will actually give you another answer. Because let me just give you an example. Hey, Mr. Seller, what do you need to get rid of this house? Oh, I love that line. Use it. It works well. Never use the word offer. Never use the word ask. Mr. Seller, what do you need to get rid of this house? Get rid of this property. House property. Never home. Well, I don't know. You're the expert. You're here. You tell me how much you can offer me. So you got a choice. You can sit there and just fiddle your thumbs and go 300,000. That's not a negotiation. That's a fool just responding that's not trained. Okay? This is not sales training. It's just learning how to talk to human beings. Mr. Seller, I know you don't know, but if you had a number in mind and you're just guessing, what do you think that number would be to get rid of it? Boom. You see, you keep serving back and forth. Studies show if you serve at least 2 times, you'll usually put people in a corner to give you an answer. When people feel a little bit stressed or like a little bit pressed on, they typically give you a subconscious reaction because they can't make up something on the spot. And that's all you're doing. I have served people 4 and 5 times. It is incredible. And it takes a little bit of practice. You have to practice. Anybody wants to jump on here and do a role play, I'll show you how to do it, but it happens all the time. Try this with your significant other. Hey, honey, where do you want to go to eat? I don't know. What do you think? Honey, I know you don't know, but if you had to ultimately choose, what would you pick? And just like, it's amazing what happens when you do this, because basically they're giving you a maybe, I don't know, but we've got to get a definitive answer. We're going to sit here forever. You got to use these methods, guys. These are how you play with resistance. You play with it. You dance it. Some of you fight it. Play with it. Just dance it. Just think about tennis. I'm gonna volley it back over. Just keep hitting it over. It's like a ping pong game. It's fun. First and last method. I like to call this the Ricky Bobby method, but I'm afraid I'll be sued, so I'm going to stay with it called the first last method. So Ricky Bobby, in his famous lines, his entire life drove him towards racing. So if you saw this movie, I love any type of Will Ferrell movie. I think the guy's just a genius. It's just fun. Like, we're way too serious in this world. Anyways, he's going through like some mental issues and can't figure out how to race because he lost his will. And he's screaming at his father. He says, Dad, you either said either you're first or you're last. And what did his dad say? He goes, man, he goes, Ricky, the hell are you talking about? I must have been drinking when I did that. I had no idea what I was doing. I was a terrible parent. That's terrible advice I gave you. And there's first place, there's second place, there's third place. But let me tell you how this relates to wholesaling is when you have competition, they go, well, Rick, you can come at 10 o'clock. I got somebody coming at 9. I got someone coming at 11 and 12 and 1. Oh, crap. How do I deal with this? Now, this isn't so much a negotiation as far as setting up the appointment. If there's 3 or 4 people coming out, remember, no negative talk. Be the first one to go out there. So if they have an appointment at, say, 10 o'clock, go there at 9:15, and just say, listen, I want to stop by. I just want to introduce myself. Get the rapport thing. Just get it started and get them warmed up. And go, listen, I want you to meet with as many people that makes you comfortable. I understand that. I think it's a great decision. But do you mind if I come at the very end and come back and talk to you? And then I can see what kind of, what kind of number is going to make sense for you. So I make a first impression. I set them up. I give them a positive response and say, listen, I think it's a brilliant idea what you're doing. And then I'm the last one there. First and last impression is all that counts in life. You can screw up the entire middle. And by the way, when we're talking about acquisitions, you can screw up the middle, but you've got to make an impact on the front. You got to make an impact on the end. Doing the first last method, or AKA the Ricky Bobby method, I've gotten so many deals doing this way because people fight this so much. They fight it so much. Oh, why would you meet with a realtor? That's stupid. Or that wholesaler, he's bad. No, embrace it because they're going to do it anyways. So why sit there and fight it? And I want you to understand that. So we get to the end, guys. We take lots of pictures once we know we have an agreement. We're going to go out and ask for permission to go out to our car and get our contract. We explain the entire process. There's no charge to look over the agreement. They're going to ask you, what are you going to do with the property? Go, listen, it just depends on what kind of time it takes, what kind of money it is. And you've got to understand that. So I'm going to take this off here. And guys, this is acquisitions. So if you want to get more in-depth training on it, go over to freewholesaling.com. Me and Zach teach an entire course on wholesaling, on how to get started for free. Not only to get your first deal, to get to your first $100,000, because that's the biggest struggle in wholesaling.